Welcome back as we continue to look at future prospects for the 2023 NFL draft class. Today, we're looking at the offensive tackle class, and I want to give you guys a nice watch list going into the college football season, man. And let me tell you, there's a lot of projecting going on with this offensive tackle class. So I'm going to give you my top 10, then we'll talk about some guys at the end. But what's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know so. Go ahead, become a bro, and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content, or at least appreciate it. And let me know what you think in the comment section below. Me and Alex, if you're not familiar, Hail Mary Sports, we got some ideas for some videos in the next few weeks, and I look forward to those because I know y'all like our little collabs because, hey, you know, we're entertaining as hell. Let's go ahead, get into this sucker. Starting at number 10, I got Matthew Bergeron? I believe that's how you say it. But yeah, out of Syracuse. This one was a bit of a surprise to me, as honestly that like 10 spots up for grabs, and we'll get into it at the end of the video. But I ended up going with Matthew here, as I'm gonna learn how to say his last name. But he was a 3-star recruit from the 2019 class. He's actually from Quebec, Canada. Hey, Canada, eh? I have a terrible Canadian accent. And plus, Quebec's like the French-speaking part of Canada, so yeah, from what I hear, it's like hillbilly French, but I always thought Creole was that because I'm half Creole. But let's talk about the player, right? He was actually the first player from Thetford to ever receive a NCAA Division I football scholarship, and in his freshman season he appeared in all 12 games with 5 starts at right tackle. In 2020 he started the first 3 games at right tackle before moving to left tackle for the final 8, and then he started all 12 games this past season at left tackle. Now this dude sports some great size, some great length. He uses those big meat hooks. I wish I had some. But to latch on and move defenders, he shows great grip strength in both the run and the passing game. He also possesses some solid lateral movement to get in front of quicker pass rushers, and he uses those strong mitts to really just halt their momentum, halt them in their tracks. He's pretty explosive when coming off the snap as a run blocker, and will move defenders upfield for chunks of yards. And he keeps moving and churning his feet, and y'all know I love a good churner. Now, some of the things why I have him as a 4th rounder right now, because I think this is I think a few people have like tabbed this guy as a potential sleeper, but I did notice a few things that while his Marin ability, it's decent, I don't think it's like high end, because he had problem with guys with, like, I would say elite get off, like in Albany's game last year. He had a problem with Jared Verse, and if you're not familiar with Jared Verse, go check out my edge rusher rankings. But he could also be a bit more consistent in maintaining leverage and resetting his anchor. Like, as a run blocker, just doesn't have that killer instinct the NFL loves, and he doesn't really climb to the second level and make blocks. There were a few cases where I thought he may have been laid off the snap, and for all intents and purposes, this guy could continue to make a big jump. Like last year was a big jump for him, and yeah, maybe he sees himself in day 2, maybe the first round. I don't think so, but we'll see. On to number 9, I got Jalen Duncan out of Maryland. He was a 4-star recruit from the 2018 class. He redshirted his freshman year, but has been a starter at left tackle since 2019. Now, this dude possesses great length, great athleticism. I could see why I think Kyle Krabs recently in his might be even his first mock draft for the 2023 class, but why he was like, hey, I'm going to throw this guy in the first round because you know, tackle position's kind of open right now, and kind of get into it. You'll see what I mean as we continue on the list. But this dude, when he gets out like in front of the ball carrier on a run or a screenplay, like, dude's scary. He gets to the second level looking for someone to kill, looking for someone to bury. As a pass blocker, he does a good job of sinking his hips and getting leverage at 6'6". You know, that's something you might be a little concerned with, because, you know, the taller the tackle is, the tougher it is for them to get down and try to at least meet these guys at the point of attack. But dude has a wide base. He can be a nightmare to get around. He shows a good feel and anticipation of blitzes and stunts, and he's at his best when on the move and has a wealth of starting experience there at Maryland. However, he does stop his feet when initiating contact. He really tries to rely on that length, so quicker pass rushers can get the corner on him, and he is susceptible to inside moves. This usually draws holding calls. I believe, let's see, specifically last year had 10 penalties. 10 not necessarily holding calls, but 10 penalties. This can also allow guys to swat his hands and disengage leverage. He also needs to work on overall footwork and pass protection. He just looks a bit lumbering at times in pass protection. By the way, become a bro and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. And the popular thing now to do on YouTube, if you really support the channel, is to share the video. So go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead, get back to the nitty gritty. And then number 8, I got Dejuan Jones, the big hog molly out of Ohio State. Oh, excuse me. But dude was a 4-star recruit out of the 2019 class. He also played basketball in high school, where he averaged 17 points and 9 rebounds. He actually received a few D1 offers for basketball. And the dude appeared in 15 games in his first 2 seasons there at Columbus, and only saw about 170 snaps during that time. But he did become a starter this year. Started at right tackle, was second team All Big Ten. Dude is massive. He's a massive human being at 6'8", 360. And you know what? He moves much better than you'd expect. He's quick out of his stance. He presents a wide base, like no kidding. Look how large he is. And has actually a pretty nice kick slide. He understands blocking angles and will beat speed rushers to the outside. He just imposes his will and physicality in the run game. He's always looking to bury guys and will knock one defender down after the other, like literally one arm. You want another? You want another? Like literally, this guy is like just asking for more. He's just, again, always looking for someone to just put in the turf. It's great. In 2021, he was 5th in big time blocks among Power 5 tackles, and you look at his build and he's like, yeah, power blocking scheme, kind of ideal. Now, nobody should expect Jones's lateral movement to be great at his size. He moves well for a 360 pounder, but won't nearly be effective in an outside blocking scheme. He does suffer from that tall tackle problem where he struggles to get low, and defenders do tend to get under his pads cleanly. He tends to stop his feet on initial contact, and this really shows up in pass protection. Like, the dude has a nice kick slide, but he stops his feet on contact, opens himself up to inside moves. Just go check out the Michigan game where Aiden Hutchinson, the guy who had the best inside move in the 2022 NFL draft, had a field day. Really did. But yeah, Jones, interesting prospect. Got a 3rd round grade on him right now. I think that's a safe projection. Number 7, Robert Scott Jr. out of Florida State. The dude was a former 3-star recruit from the 2020 class. He played in the opener as a freshman and then proceeded to start the final 7 games at right tackle. And in 2021, man, he began the season at left tackle before being moved to right tackle. He would move back to left tackle in week 10 and finish the year off pretty strong, and that's where a lot of people are like high on him, that final stretch of the year, because he was impressive, and they're like, okay, this is a sign of things to come. Now, the dude has length. He's got nimble feet. It's exactly what you want from the tackle position in today's NFL. He ended the year, again, on a hot streak, only allowed a pressure and a sack in his last 3 games. Dude has that nasty mentality you like to see in the run game. He has a good pop in his hands, the ideal length to keep defenders at bay. He shows good mirroring ability. He's quick to recover from he's quick to recover easy from losses. Here, I need to reword that. I looked at that and I was like, that's not how it should say in my notes. But coaches and teammates, they do praise this dude's character and work ethic. And just look at those goggles, man. Like, how can you not love that? All right, there we go. Typo adjusted. Now, Scott, ended the year on a hot note, but still a majority of his tape isn't that impressive. And he really does need to put on a strong season in 2022 if he wants to be this day 2, maybe back into day 1, or else he's coming back for another year. That just seems to be the case. He doesn't play with good technique. His hands are inconsistent. He doesn't do the best job of keeping his strike zone clean, basically that chest area, if you don't know. He also tends to overextend his hands and lean his upper body too forward. He is a bit impatient, where he needs to be a bit more patient. He needs to do a better job of sinking his hips and keeping his pad level low. That'll really help with some of those balance issues that we saw at least early on his tape. But this dude does have the upside. I see why people are high on him. I see why the arrows are pointing up. So be on the lookout for this cat this year. And then this is where we get into okay, yeah, these guys are good. They're going to be day 1, day 2 picks. And we're going to start with my boy Zion Nelson from the U. If you're not new to the channel, you know I love me the Hurricanes. Now, Nelson was a 3-star recruit from the 2019 class, and the Hurricanes were his only Power 5 offer. And at this time, he was a 240-pound tight end coming out of high school. Some way, somehow, won the starting job at left tackle right off the bat during the offseason, and he started in the season opener versus Florida, where he proceeded to have one of the worst games ever by a Power 5 tackle. Gave up 6 pressures, 2 sacks with a penalty. He was just absolutely hung out to dry as a freshman. But this dude has been a starter ever since, and he continues to put on weight. He continues to develop. I'm a big fan of this cat. Last year, if you do remember, this was the guy that I was like, oh, listen, man, him and Charles Cross, they're very, very similar prospects in terms of their upsize. And I was like, I bet I'm going to go with my boy Zion Nelson being the guy to take the next step. But no, it ended up being Charles Cross, and he ends up going top 10 in the draft. Can Zion Nelson do that? Possibly. I have doubts, but I'm going to root for my boy. Now, you can tell that that Nelson was once 240 pounds because this dude moves like it. He just moves so well, and honestly, I believe he's capable of marrying anybody in this class, and he isn't shy at meeting guys at the point of attack. Part of that is because he's usually the first person out his stance. He's very good coming off the snap. He has great length, uses his hands well. He knows how to use his length and keep defenders away from his strike zone and away from getting under his pads. He's improved each and every year. He continues to get bigger. He continues to get stronger. Teams are going to love what he can do as a pass protector. However, okay, this dude has put on a great deal of weight since arriving in Miami, but he needs to get more powerful. Dealing with more physical pass rushers can be very troublesome for him, and his anchor can be inconsistent. He needs to add more lower body strength, as well as some core strength. That was one of the big things about Charles Cross. Guys loved his core strength. This dude was never getting bent backwards or bent at the waist. Now, there are instances of Zion Nelson getting bent at the waist, and while he could also improve his pad level on that, a lot of that just, again, it stems from core strength, man. If he could just get that up, then it solves a lot of his issues. Typically, he stops his feet on contact. I don't like that, and isn't a guy who can really drive guys back in the run game, but this is a dude that's very good on the move, and I'm a fan, dude. I'm a fan. I love me some Zion Nelson. On to number 5, I got Blake Freeland at a BYU, and this dude is interesting as heck because I'm a PG channel for the most part. Sometimes we go into PG-13, PG-14, but dude was a 3-star recruit from the 2019 class. He was labeled as an athlete coming out simply because this dude played a plethora of positions in high school, including quarterback and tight end. He also played basketball, was a 6-time All-State in track, holds the 6A Javelin State record. The dude played right tackle for the Cougars in his first 2 seasons before replacing Brady Christensen last season, and he did a good job. This dude's a skyscraper, if you couldn't tell. 6'8", 305. By the way, early comp for this guy, and I don't like handing out comps, but this dude totally reminds me of Abraham Lucas, and you know how high I was on him down the stretch of the draft. He was a top 50 prospect for me, but this dude is a skyscraper, man, but he shows off good athleticism, his ability to block on the move. He does a good job of sinking those hips, and he is the type of technician you'd expect for a BYU prospect. His hands are very active, they're very precise. He throws hard jabs that can catch defenders off guard and in the dirt. He's quick out of the stance and will be ideal for a zone blocking scheme, as, hey, we know the NFL, they're moving more towards outside zone blocking schemes anyway. Anywho, any blocker at his height is going to struggle with getting good leverage. And again, I wrote this in my notes, he's reminiscent of Abraham Lucas in that regard. Doesn't matter how flexible you are at 6'8", you're going to struggle sinking low enough, because you know what? You could only bend so far at the waist and the knees. But big fan of him, man. Big fan of him. I really think this dude's like guaranteed day 2 guy. And on to the number 4, Anton Harrison. Dude was a 4-star recruit from the 2020 class. He was listed as a starter on the Sooners depth chart heading into the 2020 season, but he did not play in the season opener. He did play left tackle in 9 games and missed the Oklahoma State game with an undisclosed injury. And then in 2021, he remained the starter at left tackle, playing in all of them games. It's easy to see why Oklahoma got Harrison on the field right away. Like, this dude plays with a wide base, shows great movement skills. He is quick out of his stance, mirrors well. He shows great blitz recognition. He's got a great feel for pressure, and despite his lack of strength, he takes contact well. He's able to reset quickly. And you know what, coaches, they just continue to rave about his leadership, his football IQ, his work ethic. Now, the biggest concerns for Harrison coming out is arm length, which, again, it's kind of hard to gauge at this point. We'll find out more about that at the combine, but just doing the eyeball test, it's like, they seem a bit shorter than ideal. And his overall physicality. Now, this guy, it's been reported that this is something he is aware of and something he has made a big time effort to change. This dude's been in the weight room for the last, since winter workouts, to improve his overall strength. So, hey, dude, I like that. I like him taking the criticism, the constructive criticism, being like, that is something I can improve on. I think he even said, I just wish I took the weight room more serious earlier on in my career, especially collegiate career. This dude doesn't have the type of nasty mentality NFL teams love. Just doesn't have that killer instinct, though you could get by without having that. Doesn't throw definite blows, and his anchor can be inconsistent, but I'm really looking forward to him. He played really well for Oklahoma. And then the top 3, for all intents and purposes, this should be everybody's top 3 in my opinion. I think these guys are like the top tier in this class. We're going to start with Peter Skronsky, and I know a lot of people are going to have this cat at number 1. I have him at number 3. He's very close to the other 2. I just think the other 2 have higher ceilings. But Skronsky might have the highest floor. Dude was a 4-star recruit from the 2020 class. He was the number 4 center in the 2020 recruiting class via 24/7 Sports. Also played basketball and track and field. After Rashawn Slater he decided to opt out of the 2020 season, they had Skronsky step in at left tackle, and he finished as a second-team All-Big Ten in 2021. He started every game at left tackle, and once again was second-team All-Big Ten. Now, this dude came in as an interior prospect and played left tackle out of necessity for the Wildcats, and he did it extremely well. I fully believe this guy can play all 5 spots on the NFL line or on the offensive line. This dude is just a clean technician. His hands are so active, and you are literally at his whim when he hooks onto you. He has a very thick base. He can drive guys back at the point of attack. He has very nimble feet. Doesn't stop churning when going downhill. And you know what I say, I love me a good churner. Churn, churn, chew, chew. And the dude has a nice kick slide, like legit. He's smooth out of his stance. Takes good angles. Coaches rave about his work ethic and football IQ. Yeah, like this dude's a great prospect. Biggest knock on him will be arm length. And you'd be like, well, Rashawn Slater had sub 33-inch arms. Penei Sewell had sub 33-inch arms. Jonah Williams had sub 33-inch arms. Yes, this is true, but it's still something the NFL takes into account, so it would be foolish not to bring it up. Also, he was sub 300 last year. Northwestern has him reported at 315, though. So we'll check it out. We'll see. We'll come back to that one. He does struggle with stronger pass rushers. And again, if anything, he's going to be projected as the top guard next year. If a team's like, I don't think we want him at tackle, he's going to be the top guard. Like, this dude's going to be a top 15 pick. The dude's stellar. He's great. And then at number 2, I got Paris Johnson at Ohio State. And we'll get to it because this is a projection on my part. Dude was a 5-star recruit out of the 2020 class. He has a long list of This is honestly a big reason why I love this guy. Like, literally might be the best human in this draft class. Long list of volunteer experience, which includes starting his own foundation for disabled veterans and disadvantaged student athletes. He also writes articles for Ohio State's school newspaper, The Lantern, covering sports events, and even writing articles about his fellow teammates. Can you imagine that? What if you write something bad about your former teammate? Like, oh yeah, no, he kind of sucked this game. Like, okay, whoa, watch out, bro. Probably never been put in that situation, but just saying, man. Maybe it came up. Maybe the guy's too nice to even say anything. But played 5 games as a freshman, mostly at guard, and then he started all of 2021 at right guard. Honestly, probably should have played left tackle. He will this season. But last year, they had Thayer Mumford and Nicholas Petit-Frere, as well as Dejuan Jones. So it's like at least with Mumford and Petit-Frere, it's like, okay, these are more veteran guys. Maybe they feel the need to keep those guys at tackle. Honestly, I would have put Nicholas Petit-Frere at guard because I think that's actually in the NFL where he should start out at, is inside at guard, and then just put Paris Johnson at tackle because I think this dude, he has the size, he has the length, he has the athleticism. Like, I think this dude's gonna like go off. Yeah, this guy has not played tackle in his career. Like, so it's gonna be, I say in his career at Ohio State. I think it's gonna be a very natural switch for him. And just like even in his playing last year, he showed a lot of things to be a high end tackle prospect. Shows great recognition of his surroundings. He shows a good feel for pressure. He plays well on the move. He does a good job of getting to that second level to open up big plays for the running back. And believe me, his run backs were quite thankful last year. There's a lot of power in his frame, and he buries guys in the dirt or locks them out of the play altogether. Now, again, played out of position, in my opinion, in his first 2 seasons. Came in as a tackle prospect or a recruit. So, yeah, he played out of position the first 2 seasons, but it still is a bit of a projection on my part since he hasn't really played tackle there for Ohio State. We haven't seen it yet. He was a bit of a lunger on the inside. I think kicking the outside will actually work better for him. You know, he's not working in close quarters, and I think it'll just be a different story. He's going to be working with more space, so maybe he won't play so out in front of himself, but I'm very excited. I think he could end up the number 1 tackle in this class. Like I said, it's really close between Johnson, Skronsky, and my number 1, Broderick Jones out of Georgia. Another guy that hasn't played a lot of snaps at tackle. but he was a 5-star recruit from the 2020 class. He saw very little action as a freshman at right tackle, eventually redshirted, but he started 4 games at left tackle after Jamari Sawyer was injured, and he was fantastic. This dude has a thick frame, and he plays just wanting to hit somebody. I love the mentality, and that was really on display during the spring game. Like, Georgia's spring game was honestly one of the most entertaining spring games I've checked out. And I've probably checked out maybe like 12 spring games. Dude's a good athlete with a very strong core strength. The left side of the line I thought looked better with him there instead of Jamari Sawyer, though Sawyer's more of a guard anyway, and that's what he'll be playing in the NFL. But Sawyer, he struggled with waist bending, and that was just never an issue with Jones in those 4 starts. Dude sinks low. He does a good job of keeping rushers in front of him. In pass protection, he is just so stupid strong and just overwhelms defenders. This dude can impose his will on the defense and doesn't lose power after having to reset his anchor. Now, where he needs to clean up, and I feel like this is this is kind of par for Georgia prospects, is his footwork, but then again, it's like this dude hasn't seen a lot of playing time, so I expect that to look better this year, as he will be the starter, because the dude can move his feet. It's just about being less clunky about it. There are times where he just dragged his feet, and it's like, come on, I know you don't have to do that. What you doing? But honestly, if he can do that, it'll help out in a lot of other areas that he struggled with, such as mirroring and leverage. And I say struggling, but like these are nitpicks. I had this guy at number 1 for a reason. Big fan. Let's go ahead and get into some of the guys that did not make the list. As I got this tier right behind Matthew Bergeron. Right here, these 4 guys. I got like Trevor Reed out of Louisville, great athlete, could do a backflip, by the way. Connor Galvin. A lot of people are huge fans of this cat out of Baylor, and they're probably gonna want him to go higher. But I don't know. I really think that athletically he ain't all that. But I could also say the same thing about Darnell Wright out of Tennessee. He's big, and hey, you move well for a big guy, but you're still a big guy, and you're not the most fleet of foot. So like those are like 2 bigger guys. Though Wright's like 25 pounds bigger. But also you can bring in Javon Foster, who was a guy that really just saw start action last year from Mizzou, and he's just a wonderful athlete, like very good athlete, but you are concerned. Why did it take you so long to start at Mizzou? There's some strength concerns there, but big fan. Jackson Kirkland returns. Dude's going to be 25 by the time of the season opener of 2024. So it's like, let's hopefully he looks better against better competition this year, and he doesn't have that Michigan game. But I'm still a big fan of Kirkland. Carter Warren, another guy that's one of the older guys in this class. Though I thought he looked really good for Pittsburgh last year. I think if he would have came out last year, I had a 5th round grade on him, and I'm probably going to stick with that. There's a couple of other guys here that I don't think will come out, like Walter Roos out of Stanford. Like, I think he's a guy that's just waiting to take that next step to the next level. He is draft eligible, but I think he ends up coming out in 2024. There's Joshua Gray out of Oregon State, who I thought looked pretty darn good. He will get a senior bowl invite probably this year, at least a Shrine Bowl, but he will be eligible for the Senior Bowl. And the dude was a bit up, a bit down, but some of the high-end reps were very impressive. So he's a guy to definitely watch out for. I also have TJ Bass here, but like I think that guy's going to end up being an interior player. But he's currently playing tackle there for the Ducks. I don't know if he's actually a projected starter for the Ducks this year at tackle. Maybe they move him back inside. I doubt it. They're probably he's like their best offensive line player. They're probably going to stick him at tackle. But obviously there's some other guys that I want to get back around to, like Nick Broecker at Ole Miss. I didn't love him last year though. Who else here? I hear really good things about Ryan Hayes out of Michigan. Haven't watched him yet, so I can't wait to go check him out. There's the other Maryland tackle who's actually the I believe he's coming from Western Kentucky. I'm not positive, but Spencer Anderson. Could be wrong about that. I feel like that's true, but I don't have it here in my notes, so honestly could not tell you. So there are some guys I need to check out before I get into before I wrap up my summer deep dive. But yeah, that's it for the video. We're doing linebackers tomorrow and then quarterbacks. We finish up the week. Be on the look for that. And as always, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.